The media has been one of our strongest partners since we commenced the renewed fight against drug abuse and illicit drug trafficking. Your coverage of our activities has been a major contribution to the campaign to ensure a drug-free Nigeria. Thank you for all the reports and the effort you made to clarify issues with us whenever there were malicious reports out there. The reason for this press conference is to inform you of the forthcoming heads of National Drug Law Enforcement Agencies Africa with the acronym HONLAV conference, which Nigeria will host. It is a subsidiary body of United Nations Commission on Narcotic Drugs and a body under the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. The HONLAV meeting is an annual event that brings together heads of drug law enforcement agencies in Africa to discuss drug abuse and trafficking trends and develop actionable strategies to combat the scourge of this in the region. In the last one was held in Nairobi, Kenya, where Nigeria was unanimously elected as the host of the 31st edition, which will take place from Tuesday, September 26th to Friday, September 29, 2023 in Abuja. This HONLAV meeting features a lineup of activities that include technical meetings, paper presentations, deliberations on reports and trends of trafficking in drugs, workshops and bilateral talks among member nations. It is a platform for brokering collaborations in the areas of shared intelligence, joint training, and joint operations against international drug cartels in the African region. This year, Nigeria has the honor of being the chair and host of the meeting. So it means delegates from 53 other African countries will converge on the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, on Monday. And for the rest of the week, there will be the guest of NDLEA and the federal government of Nigeria. Aside from delegates from African countries, there will be representatives from observer bodies and other non-African countries who will be attending the conference. Permit me at this juncture to give a quick rundown of order of activities for the 4-day program. The opening ceremony is on Tuesday, September 26th at 10 a.m. The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is a special guest of honor. The President will deliver a keynote address and also declare the conference open. Also, the Attorney General of the Federation and the Honorable Minister of Justice, Chief Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, will be at the opening ceremony as a guest of honor, and he will deliver a speech. The ceremony will be attended by some invited ministers and heads of relevant parastatals as well as other guests. A short break will be observed for a photo session and a media interviews before the continuation of the proceedings for the day. Once the protocol of the meeting ceremony is out of the way, the conference goes into a full swing with deliberations and paper presentations by countries. Activities will continue on Wednesday, September 27 through Thursday, September 28. The conference will provide opportunities for bilateral meetings on the sidelines of the main agenda on Wednesday and Thursday. Hence, there will be a series of activities between and among delegates from countries wishing to cement operational relationships with their counterparts attending the conference. On the evening of Thursday, there will be a gala night for delegates and other participants of the conference. On Friday, which is the last day of the conference, a communique will be issued on resolutions, action plans, and policies emanating from the week-long conference. In the course of the conference, there will be a visit to places of interest in the FCT, particularly NDLEA 24/7 Drug Abuse Counseling Call Center will be one of such places. This is the basic outline of the order of activities for the conference. So we crave the indulgence of our friends in the media to help give this meeting maximum coverage and also helps sensitize the public about the significance of this conference to Nigeria. Among other positive outlooks, Nigeria hosting the 31st HONLAV is an indication of the international community's confidence in the country's political will to deal decisively with the drug trafficking and the trust in the leadership quality of NDLEA among its peers in the on the continent. At the last HONLAV meeting in Nairobi, Nigeria seized the momentum to broker bilateral cooperation with a number of countries with the intention of forming strong regional network against transnationally illicit drug organizations trying to establish bases in our countries. Such bilateral relationships have been crucial to NDLEA's success stories in the past years. Let me also add that Nigeria was elected to host the 31st conference through a unanimous decision at the close of the 30th meeting in Nairobi in 2022. The move by other heads of anti-narcotic agencies in Africa to have Nigeria host the 2023 conference followed the country's good relationship with others on the continent and NDLEA's exemplary performance in a renewed fight against substance abuse and illicit drug trafficking. We hope your reporting of all this will further motivate members of the society and other critical stakeholders to join NDLEA in partnership to keep our country safe from the scourge of illicit drugs. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you for being here today and thank you for coming. Thank you.
Prevents me from actually having to add much at this stage. I also would like to apologize for coming in late. I do hope that I will not have made you wait too long. In addition, maybe what could be mentioned is, of course, we are expecting as it was already said, the head of the narcotic law enforcement agencies from around the 54 African countries, as well as 15 observer nations. Not everybody will come, but we are confident that a large crowd will descend on Abuja and make this meeting utmost useful. Utmost useful, of course, one, already because of the substantive significance of the topics that will be discussed, most notably regional and international cooperation to reduce illicit cultivation and production of drugs, something that we have observed thanks to the operational successes of NDLEA over these past years, also here in Nigeria, not just in the terms of cannabis, but also manufacturing, for example, of methamphetamines. Including, however, also discussions around alternative developments, which is an approach that is being promoted in many countries that are traditional drug cultivation countries, and which I think, at least for some of the products that are being produced locally, could be also seen as a possible approach, so an opportunity to learn from others. Then another topic will be on financial investigations in drug trafficking cases and the role of cryptocurrencies in drug trafficking and related money laundering. I think it is fair to say that NDLEA has made great strides at starting to follow the money. So not only to seize drugs and arrest those ones that are basically being caught in the context of these investigations, but also to look at how to follow the money, how to seize the immense riches that are being produced through the illicit drug trade. Clap for yourself. Very good. Yes, no, absolutely very commendable, very important, but again, I think we are only at the beginning in this journey, and I think we need to further up our collective efforts, and certainly with the new Proceeds of Crime Act that was passed last year, there's a huge opportunity to do exactly that. Then there is the issue of measures to counter illicit manufacturing and diversion of precursor chemicals. I think according to an assessment that was done jointly with NAFDAC and the Ministry of Health about maybe 2 years ago, with the support also of UNODC, we found that certain precursor chemicals that are being typically used in the production of illicit drugs are being imported in large quantities into Nigeria, and it is not always clear whether these chemicals are actually being consumed by the legal market, which of course exists for those. So I think another very topical discussion point. And finally, the link of drugs and the environment. This is a topic that has gained a lot of prominence in the international conversation. Actually, the last 2023 World Drug Report dedicated a full chapter to the topic. And as you might recall, when we did UNODC in partnership with all the national stakeholders, the cannabis survey about 2 years ago, we actually found that cannabis cultivation is a significant contributor to deforestation in the country. So again, something I think where we can gain from comparing notes with other countries and learning from them. One topic that I also would like to bring to your attention on the occasion of the opening of the HONLAF meeting, UNODC and the Nigerian Institute for Security Studies will be launching a very significant report on the organized crime threats that are currently facing Nigeria, the so-called Nigeria Organized Crime Threat Assessment. Now that report has been compiled with the contributions of 22 law enforcement agencies, of course very prominently the NDLEA itself, and we look forward to sharing that report for the very first time on the occasion of the opening, but then of course also in subsequent meetings and opportunities to discuss much deeper what can we actually learn from the data that was collected as part of the report, and what do we do now about it, which is I think always the most important conversation to take place. I think with that I can sort of like conclude my own contribution. So the report, the Organized Crime Threat Assessment, is not an intelligence report. It is an analytical report that looks at broadly at markets, at trends, at structures of organized criminals and the changing environment of these structures, and some of the groups that are most active in Nigeria. It might here and there have some references to, for example, court cases if those have been concluded, but that is not the main purpose of the report. So we will not find like allegations, so to speak, in our report of cases that you haven't heard yet about. I think that's hopefully clarifying that.